also the reality that children of all ages will be doing more learning at home. Sarah is here with ways parents can help set their kids up for success. So she's got tips for creating an at-home workspace that will help your child thrive. And thank you for that, Sarah, because we are going to be leaning heavily on you in this unsettling time.
Oh, no pressure. No, I mean, it's the reality that we have to deal with. So why not make it as functional and usable for everybody, right?
Absolutely. And you say the first place we need to start is really setting the scene. So how do we do that?
Well, you really have to take into account your child's learning style. Are they easily distracted, or do they really like the company of other people while they're working? And that's kind of has to dictate where in your home you're going to set up a workspace for them. So maybe if they are distracted easily, find a corner of a bedroom that's really nice and quiet. Or if you're like us, our crew is working at the table that I'm standing at right now in our dining room in the middle of everything, because they really like being around other people, and it's great if you need to be available to answer questions. So that's just really the first step, is finding that location.
Okay, so now if they are working in the living room or the dining room, and that's where my kids work as well, right in the middle of everything, how do you limit the temptation of having the TV on while they work?
Well, honestly, it can be as simple as just having them sit facing away from it so that they're not seeing it. You definitely don't want to have it on when they're working or necessarily visible for those kids that are really tempted by it. But on the other hand, music can be really great for kids while they're working. A lot of teachers have music on in the classroom because it can foster creativity. It can also just really help keep kids focused. You just kind of have to make sure that it's not the music that they're going to want to get up out of their seats and start dancing and singing all the time. So something a little bit relaxing and soothing can really be helpful.
Okay, and I think, having the kids, because you say the kids sort of need to take a bit of a leading role when it comes to setting this whole thing up. It's important because it helps them feel some ownership over their space. So how do we make that happen?
Well, first of all, you want to make sure that they have a work surface, the basics, right? A nice flat work surface to work on, or I like this for older kids too, a lap desk. And it's great for, if they want to get away in their rooms and just sit on their beds and be comfortable and watch a video that their teacher wants them to watch, or whatever. So you've got your workspace, a comfy spot to sit. Then you also want to have adequate lighting, of course, but then, let them personalize the space. Even if it is your dining room, put up some of their artwork on the wall temporarily. Let them snuggle up with their favorite stuffy while they're working. Just something to make it feel like their space while they're working is really important.
For my daughter, what she did during the learning at home, the remote learning, is she walked everywhere with this big blanket, and it made her feel comfy, whether she was working in the dining room or whether she was working in her bedroom. And listen, whatever helps. Your final tip is one of my favorites. It's to stock up on all the wonderful school supplies. I love school supplies. It's one of my favorite things about back to school.
Oh, the shopping's the best part. Let's not kid ourselves. It's the greatest. But if you're like me, you want to go in one place these days and then get home. So I went to Staples and found the coolest stuff that's going to make back to school enjoyable for everyone, even though I know it's going to be different this year. So my first tip is to grab something like this caddy right here, especially if your kids are working in a big area like we are, then everything's within easy reach. There's no excuse that they can't find their markers, their pens, and all that sort of stuff. And it's on wheels, so you can wheel it out of the way when nobody's working, so school's not in your face all the time. Then I really like the idea of using colorful storage containers. We need to keep in mind that kids this year most likely are going to have their own supplies for everything. So whether we're talking water bottles, whether we're talking, pencil cases, all that sort of stuff, they're probably going to be bringing that to and from school. So it's a really great idea to have an organized section for them to put it in when they're at home. And then also there's some really fun, colorful pattern things, which I love. So look at these coordinated binders and pencil cases and notepads that are so stylish for the kids to keep organized. There's something here in camo too, which I think is really, really, really fun. And this one made me laugh. I had to grab it, Tracy, because can you read this one? It says, "Is it Friday yet?" Which I feel like every day of our lives, we're asking that question these days. And then one more thing that I think is really good to get is a printer, because kids looking at screens all day, we as adults know what that feels like. It's not necessarily the best for your eyes or your head. So printing out their work sometimes is fantastic. Also, it really helps with retention of information to actually be physically writing things down rather than typing it out. And there's free apps on your phone. You can take a picture of the piece of paper, turn it into a PDF and send it to the teacher if you need to. So it's really, really simple.
Yeah, that tip is going to come up again and again, and we're hearing that from a lot of different industries. Everyone's saying your kids actually get them to write stuff down on paper. So you will hear that tip again and again. Sarah, thank you so much for making back to school look so fun.